All right, there's our opening range gap. So we'll see what it gives us for an opening range here. We have all this consolidation right here. I'm not convinced that this was also the high at 830. So I'm not convinced it's not going to want to at least come back up into here. So there's complete closure of the opening range gap. This right here would technically be our first presented fair value gap. It may not want to go up here. We'll see if it uses the opening range gap low as support. Or as resistance, if you will. These are the quadrants right here of this 1 hour order block. So what I'm curious about, here's a 15-minute bullish order block. And then we'll look at what that's the 62% retracement of the central bank dealers range, which I'll admit is a pretty big range. I'm not sure it's going to be salient. It's 116 handles. So we'll go back to the 1 minute and see. it's respecting any of those. This is the top of that 15-minute order block right there. Look at the 5-minute. Really not interested in taking a trade today. We had an 8:30 news driver, and then at 10 o'clock there's a red flag folder. And even just looking at this right now, wouldn't want to do anything until at least 10 o'clock for sure. Below the opening range gap. So there's a nice reaction off of the mean threshold of that 15-minute bullish order block. Take this off here. Initial sell side gone. See these 1 minute bodies. We have a 1 minute change in the state of delivery. Those bodies are respecting the high of that 15-minute order block. Retreat back down into this bullish order block. I'm not interested in taking anything, although it's probably at least going to get those relative equal highs. But since I'm really only taking longs, it'll be interesting to see if this will get back up above the first presented fair value gap, and if it does, then I would think that it would make an attempt for sure to get above there, and then potentially here. So here's one. That's one swing high broken. And if this is not if this is not a turtle soup and we're going to be bullish, then I would want to see, we would want to see this swing high broken as well. Just trading back down into the mean threshold of this order block. The body of it. Trade it back above that. So we'll see if we want to get above here. It's only Tuesday. I'm curious. The all-time highs weren't taken out by much. I would not think that they would leave this. And if it is going to retrace, we'll just have to see. This is looking like turtle soup here. Turtle soup short. Down to next objective would be the 26,660 level. If. Actually, if it does turn around, my first objective would be 26,707. And then 660. Still respecting this 1 minute bullish order block. This is our AM range high. And if we're going to look at it from trading the liquidity, session highs and lows, that would be pertinent. Currently right now, this is our AM range low. So we just took out that second swing high. Let's see what this body does with this higher time frame bullish order block. We have a gap right here. We have a nice buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Swing high broken. So in 3 seconds, we'll be above yesterday's first presented fair value gap. So if I was to take a trade, that would be a buy, but my stop, I would want to account for this gap right here. So I would want my stop right down here, and I don't want a 20 handle stop. So potentially, if this is not a turtle soup, that's reaches back and touching this first swing high right there. Consequent encroachment of today's fair value gap, as well as that buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. 1 minute change in the state of delivery right there. I'd still want more information. Said potentially that would be a buy. You wouldn't want that stop. So let's see if, yeah, probably would have got stopped out. If you went off of this BC to buy it long, your stop would have to be right there and you'd be stopped out. So that's why we wait. Well, let's see. If we put it at the consequent encroachment of this wick, we had our stop there. It's respecting so far it's respecting the mean threshold of this order block. Now we're into the macro, 950. So this is the consequent encroachment of the opening range gap, which is also, it happens to be a 5-minute SIBI. So we're in the macro now. That failed to get to consequent encroachment of that BC. So that's definitely strength. I'm going to peek at the dollar. Let's see what we got going on here. Ugh. I'm going to go to the 5-minute chart. So we do have some SMT. ES already cleared this high right there. That's the 830 high. I'm sorry, 930 high. Here's ES's 830 high. That's what that is. We'll mark that 830 with the color. And the dollar is already taken out 830 low. And it's 930 open. So we'll see if it can reach down. If the dollar gets below this, let's see where we're at here. It's back. So with this not closing, if we go long here to here, seeing as how we did not get to the consequent encroachment of this, the next candle or two should really get lively. And if it doesn't, we would look at closing the long or taking some off right there and not trying to get to here, especially since we're not even to the news driver yet. But that's why we're going to wait. So we would let's call this gap here the macro. Even from there to the 930 open, if we bought that, that's 20. That's a good 20 handles in 2 minutes. That's acceptable. Let's look at something here. Let's take this order block off. This is that 1 hour bullish order block right there. The 6 a.m. opening is actually a level of a 1 hour bearish change in the state of delivery. So it might wick up into 830. We'll just have to watch it. Can take off the consequent encroachment of this order block. Take that BC off. I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart and put this fib back on this central bank dealer's range. 62%. So here's if it was to not turn around and it was to take out the highs, there's the 127 and 162 level. So this to me is where we're going to figure out what's going to go on, because that's a 15-minute bullish suspension block. Let's look and see if this entire bullish that did get below 50% of that. What I'm looking at is on the 60-minute chart. We have this 1 hour change in the state of delivery right there. So if it's going to remain bearish or bullish, then what I was looking at was the consequent encroachment of this entire bullish order block, or the mean threshold, which is right there. So it did get below it a little bit, but the body's at the mean threshold of this order block. So let's put the quadrants on there. That's a bullish signature for now. So there's the AM sell side, or AM buy side right there. This is the top of that 1 hour bullish order block. So here's our new AM range high right there. And that's 10 o'clock right there. So now the biggest thing that I want to watch and see, this closed a 15-minute candle above this 15-minute bullish suspension block. So take this bullish order block off of here. Take this mean threshold off of here. And so now what we have is I'm going to use this as our that's our New York AM range. Text center 14. I'm going to darken that a little bit. So now what I want to do is take this low to that high. And at least dip into this if we're going to remain bullish. It might go through that suspension block. Who knows? I would think it would at least get to equilibrium of the range. I can't imagine it would come all the way up here and not take out the highs from 8:30. That's usually a fairly common thing when when it's a red folder day. From here to here is a balanced price range, so if it's going to go higher, you would think I would kind of expect it to retrace back down into below this high. There's a potential silver bullet at the 10 a.m. first presented fair value gap. Maybe. You gotta let this close and see. That's a 5-minute bullish order block. So even if we were to not look at any sort of higher time frame long run, as far as above old highs, it would be reasonable to assume that if this fails to get to consequent encroachment of the silver bullet, that even this high right here is a good level. it respected the 15-minute suspension block, made the silver bullet. So 10 o'clock opened there. Took out this high. That high. Traded back down into a discount. Respected the 15-minute bullish suspension block. Traded up with displacement, silver bullet. Using the high of the opening range as support. 830 fair value gap. $830 opening price. Should be a push to here. Which even this run to there is respectable. Even to there is a 20 handle run that was low resistance. So 2 seconds. Opening price 830 respected, traded above it. Let's get that's mean threshold of that bearish order block. So that did not take out the 830 high yet, but even if you took that quick trade to there, it would give you a respectable, very quick $26 handles. This is all expected. I do still think that we'll take that out. I think this yep, there we go. So that run from there to there. If you didn't buy that, you could buy that to there. Just to there, that's 40. And then from, even if you went from there to 830 high, it's 30. Oh, those are two with zero drawdown, so there's 65 handles. So we'll take 8:30 off there. I'm going to take 8 a.m. off of there. I'm going to take this mean threshold off of there. So you see what we did here is we have the high and low. Made the high, retraced back into it, respected that, so at least took out the high at 10:30 or the high at 10 of the range. So now 8:30 is essentially cleared. So I want to look at the